Welcome to the Blackout Show, presented by the Guillen Grade, a show about the Chicago White Sox baseball, the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll debate what's working and what's not on the south side of Chicago. It's old school versus new school baseball. And most importantly, we're keeping all the receipts.
And this is another episode of the Blackout Show. I'm back to my government name. I am not Jay Targaryen anymore. I am Justin Lee. I'm here with Chris Gonzalez and OJ Ozzie Guillen Jr. Now, Gonzo, you got a lot of things in common with Bruce Bochy, like the way you walk, the way you handle your starting rotation. But the biggest similarity, at least lately, is you're still pissed off about some obstruction call last night, apparently. Can you go deeper into that?
Well, I'm not as pissed off as AJ is about it because I feel like New York has finally given us a call. Finally in the right direction here.
Wow.
Now, was it correct? Was it correct call on the field? Absolutely not.
And this is why this show was created, so that I can call out White Sox fans. Are you guys really keeping track on how many calls they've gone against you guys? What calls have they gone against you guys that have cost you guys games that were as bad as this call that just happened? And it wasn't a bad call. The fact that they made an obstruction, that's why it's bad. It's not bad that they could have said that he was safe. And it is what it is. It was that close. But the fact that they said that it was an obstruction play by the umpire, by the home plate catcher, by the catcher at the home plate, it was just wrong. It was just a wrong call. That's why you can see Bochy going off. And Bruce is not a guy that really argues calls, but you could definitely tell that he was upset and definitely gave the Sox the win on that one. But yeah, that was a really, really bad, not call. It was a really, really bad way to interpret when you could have just gone with a safe and let it be.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Eloy just gave the Sox a 1-0 lead, and no one has chosen Eloy yet for the pick to click, but we'll get to that later. But yes, Junior, you're absolutely right. In that situation, like it shouldn't be called for to go to an obstruction call, because when you go back and look at it, Hem was giving him the front half of the bag for Elvis to slide into, and then the throw drew him, into the collision, or not collision, but drove him more so into the base path of Elvis, which is not obstruction. Fortunately for us, it went right for us, but we were lucky. And I don't know why that, they should have just focused on the play at the plate. That's what the replay was for. It shouldn't be called for obstruction. That should not be you shouldn't go back and change it, the call in the field for, violation of the base path that wasn't there at all.
If it would have been the other way around, White Sox fans would have still been crying. Every time they lose a game in extra innings, they still go back to, it's the worst rule ever. And they cry on Twitter every single time. Again,
I'm not going to lie. Most of the calls that went against the White Sox this year have been the calls to the fucking bullpen. Those are the only calls that hurt us this year so far.
By the way, if I was an umpire and a White Sox player trying to complain about the strike zone, I would be like, hey, how about those errors that you guys made? Anyone complaining about that? Because you're making me be here longer. I would literally talk back to them. I literally would. I'd say, hey, you guys haven't walked. Worst walk rate in the league. I think you guys don't know the zone. Stop arguing balls and strike, guys.
Yeah, I think, and you bring up a good point, OJ, because like, when was the last White Sox player you seen outside of maybe Grandal the last 3 years that had a command of the strike zone, like
None.
owned the strike zone?
Like own the strike zone other than Grandal. Man, Abreu, even during his good times, I think Abreu had a horrible command of the zone, of the strike zone. And when I'm talking about a good command of the zone, I'm taking like the Jim Tomeys of the world, Joey Votto, guys that when you see them argue, Grandal has a really really good knowledge of the zone. He doesn't swing at a lot of bad pitches. But today, maybe Benintendi has probably the best Benny. Maybe Gavin Sheets at times, but other than that, it's a free. You could be a free swinging team, but have knowledge of the zone. The Sox are not great at the knowledge, and that's why they have the worst on base percentage in Major League Baseball. I know that on base percentage is not a big stat for analytical guys because it doesn't have a capital F or a little F in front of it. But if you put like like in the new analytics, like a capital letter in front of it for like WAR, like a little W or a big W. But since on base percentage is an old school stat, they don't really pay attention to it. But in reality, that's a big problem, man. They're not getting on base. They're not getting on base at very, very alarming rates. So again, that means they're not commanding the zone. I think personally, and this is going to be a joke, obviously, that the eye pitch needs to work more on them working the strike zone for them. The eye pitch really needs to hone in on that for them
Yeah.
on balls and strikes.
And guys, I'm gonna put into the chat, the chance to get an Ozzie photo, and the question for our chat is, who deserves to be an all-star and why from this roster this year? The best
and it doesn't have to be a player. It doesn't have to be a player. If you give me a really good like Jason Benetti should be an all-star because blah 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 blah, or so and so should be an all-star, and we deem it's the best answer, we run with that. If you got to give us a good answer.
Yes, give us a good answer. I know Rustin here in the chat put Robert Jr. Rustin, give us your best explanation for Robert, as currently he's not even in the starters for the updated voting, which is surprising.
Well, why is that? Why is that surprising? The White Sox were never in the leaders of voting when they used to draw fans to the stadium. You're like 8% down from last year. Why would he be anywhere near in the voting of anything?
Numbers wise, he should be there.
He's not famous.
But again, Rustin's gonna give us his best explanation for Robert. But I mean, you got Team Cando just putting all Blue Jays in there. So
again, Blue Jays are drawing. They got a whole country. Okay, they got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a very popular player around the world. Bo Bichette is a very good player around the world. White Sox fans need to realize that their whole mantra on their players were famous, and if this was like 4 years ago, all the White Sox players would have been getting a lot of votes because it was like, oh, they're so cool, they're so popular, they're amazing, because no one had ever seen them playing on a consistent basis. Now the story is, oh, those guys that used to be cool who can't play baseball very well. That's the storyline nationally. I know that national news and Chicago don't go well together, that everybody's like in a bubble in Chicago, and anything they hear about national news, they freak out. But national news, that's the storyline. Oh yeah, that team that used to have really like promising players that sucks now. There's no one that's popular. The whole TA thing, TA's popular, that ended at the World Baseball Classic. That's not even the case now. It's just Major League Baseball trying to tell you. So there's a lot of more popular players out there. And the All-Star Game is a popularity contest, guys. I don't care. People don't look at stats. You think people look at the ballot and say, "Oh, I'm going to go vote as a stat"? No, they vote for, they vote for their favorite players. It's a popularity contest.
Yeah, like you seen, it was on the graphic. Like Martin Maldonado, he's hitting like 190, but he was like fourth among catchers on the voting.
Correct.
Like, yeah, they don't really care. They just want to get their guys in, and the more fanfare you got around the country, like it's just not people that live in Houston that's voting for Maldonado.
No, the guy's been in a couple World Series. They see his name, it's like, oh, that guy throws people out.
Machete.
Yeah, I think from that standpoint, it's more of a marketing thing. There was a time where Frank Thomas couldn't even lead the voting. He's the best player in Major League Baseball. I just don't think that White Sox fans and voting go hand in hand together. Like, you're not going to win a position. When's the last time a position for the White Sox won straight up Like, you just got voted into play?
Probably Mags.
I don't think Matt Lewis ever started an All-Star game.
Damn. Frank wasn't either, no?
No, I think Frank was like, I think maybe maybe once or twice, but I don't think there's been many White Sox starting. I know my dad was ever a starter. Like, he got taken, but he was ever in the starting lineup. Cal Ripken was a starting shortstop.
Wasn't TA the starter?
Again, TA was a starter in probably the year they won the batting title and the highest point of his fame.
Was that the Colorado All-Star game?
And he should have. Like, he was probably the best shortstop at the moment and probably the most popular.
Yeah. And Russ here says, system is rigged for fan voting. Might as well be an elementary school election. Look at the year the Royals hosted the All-Star game. Yeah.
Rustin's right. The White Sox, after 2005, the 2006, they took like 7 guys to the All-Star game, probably the most ever in White Sox history, because they were a hot team, they were popular, and they were playing really good, and they got a lot of votes in. And Ozzie took, as a manager, he said, "I'm taking every single player that I can," and he was critiqued for it. And he was like, "I don't care. If I have a roster spot, I'm taking a White Sox player over anybody else. Why not?"
Yeah.
Yeah, the MLB needs to change up, at least for marketing, voting for the stuff, and also probably change the voting for the Hall of Fame, because that's been pretty abysmal, in my opinion, for quite some time now.
And by the way, before you lead us to the next topic,
Yep.
because I'm gonna have to jump off and strike out a bunch of kids.
Damn.
In a few seconds. Yeah, I'm about to break some hearts out here. I didn't know I have to umpire today, but I'm actually jumping in and helping out my assigners. Grifol's grounds. All I gotta say is, I don't care who you manage, like who your manager plays, because the only answer a manager has to give anyone of why this person's hitting in this position is, I am the effing manager, and it's my lineup. Okay? When you get into trouble is when you start making dumb explanations of saying that Jake Berger is still going to get 4 at-bats, yet nobody in that position has gotten 4 at-bats. And you start saying things like, this guy runs the bases well, is when you get yourself in trouble and people think that you're full of shit. That's the only word I can use. I'd rather Pedro just say, this is my lineup and I dreamt it. I was having some pancakes and this is what I went with. Whatever it is, because he is the manager and it's his name on that lineup and he can hit anyone wherever he wants. I think it's funny and I love laughing because people like Chris Gonzalez, people on NBC Sports, when he used words like horizontal, vertical, and that he was analytical, they got so excited. It's probably the most excited they've been in a very long time in their life. Okay, during that presser. And his lineups are less analytical than Earl Weaver's. Okay, there's no analytics in those lineups. Ozzie Guillen's lineups look like he created the algorithm on how unanalytical his lineups are. When they're doing, Tony La Russa looks like he invented analytics compared to like his lineups, and he was supposed to be the old guy. Again, I don't care, because I think that he's a great baseball. Like, I think he knows the game, and that's his lineup, and it is what it is. But I think it's funny that everyone thought he was going to be this analytical guy, and his lineups are so far from analytical. And now the fact that he is defending them in such a bad way, I think that's a bad look for him, because, again, lineups are going to get questioned even when they're good lineups. But him just coming up with those nonsense, instead of him just saying, hey, man, this is my lineup, deal with it. This is how I'm riding. This is my team. I'd rather have him say that than come up with some dumb excuse of why Berger's hitting 8th or 7th or whatever the hell he's hitting. Because the only spot he deserves to be hitting, if it's analytical wise, is 3rd, and that's it. 3rd every day in the lineup. I don't care who he has to bench. That's just the reality of it. That's my take on the Pedro while I leave.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have one more. Gonzo, have you seen Diekman's stats in Tampa?
No, I saw the blurb that you texted us in the group chat.
You should look it up. If you want to ruin your afternoon, just look. You'll still look them up.
Wow.
They're very good, Justin. They're very good.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know.
So I don't know what they did, but they're very good. So again, that's my take on Pedro. Sorry that I have to bow out. I have to go break kids' hearts. Get yelled at by parents.
Hey, go toss someone out for me, all right?
I will do that.
Make it worthwhile.
Dude, by the way, I will not go to call obstruction. I'll tell you that much.
Wow.
Can you call obstruction for me? Jesus Christ.
You
All
know
right,
what?
Jay. You know
Ozzie
what time
Jr.
it
out.
is.
Ozzie Jr. out. Grifol grounds in.
I don't have a problem making decisions. I don't have a problem making a call on a, on a pitcher. I don't have a problem making a call on whatever our team needs at this particular moment.
I just thought about, Jay, instead of catcher interference or obstruction, let's get some runners interference called these days, Make it even.
A lot of these base runners are running sideways, Gonzo. I seen what was that yesterday? Ellie De La Cruz made a wide turnaround first. The man was running halfway into center field on his way to second base. I don't know how the hell you're in the outfield grass making a turn from first, but here we are. You see these guys inside the baseline, especially down the. Now it's pretty smart to me. If I'm a base runner, I'm commanding the third baseline because that 9 times out of 10, people use that as the alleyway to make a throw to bases. But these people are running sideways, Gonzo. I don't understand what's going on.
When you have the speed of Ellie De La Cruz, you can do anything you wish on the base path, Justin. That kid is freaky fast. But
yeah, go ahead. No, I was
saying.
just gonna say, go back to the 05 and 06 White Sox teams. Like, they prepared every day to kick your ass. Sometimes Robin Ventura prepared to kick your ass. Even Rick Renteria prepared every night to kick your ass. Is this the only White Sox team that is unprepared to kick someone's ass now that we've seen in the last, let's just say, 7 years, 10 years?
It's very Ricky Renteria-like, which, I mean, you can go back and forth on who would you rather have with Grifol or Ricky, but regardless, even to help kick your ass, he needs the help of New York to do so. So this is Grifol's grounds, and Justin, on Monday versus these same Texas Rangers, Game 1. I don't know if it's Katz or Grifol strategizing against the opposing hitters, but I was kind of frustrated watching Bummer pitch around. I think it was Garcia. And then, the next guy gets a base hit, and they end up loading the bases against Heim, and then Heim drives in, I think 2 or 3 it was. And it's just frustrating to watch, the approach, which is just basically pitching to lose at that point with pitching around guys when you're, have a lead. It's for this team right now that's 11 games under 500. I just don't understand it. Why not be aggressive when you have that lead and, pitch right at hitters and make them make the outs? It's a frustrating concept to watch, these guys pitch around, some of these guys in these lineups when you have a lead and can give it up at any moment. So again, for me, it's pitching to lose in these moments. And as a fan of the pitching opponent to the game, it's concept, I should say, it's very frustrating. What has your thoughts been about that, that game on Monday?
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're going to a guy in Aaron Bummer. I kind of feel sorry for my man because he looks absolutely dejected every time he takes the mound. Why are you putting the man that has no confidence in not only himself but his stuff? And then you're going to ask him, because that came from the bench, to pitch around Adolis. Why are you bringing in a lefty to pitch around Adolis? If you're expecting Garcia to expand the zone, why wouldn't you get somebody in that could throw at least a ball, 2 or 3 strikes in a sequence when need be? Because you're not gonna just completely walk the guy if you're expecting him to expand the zone. So I have a problem with that. Number 2, to get off of Monday's game, he did the same thing yesterday, and he asked Aaron Bummer to pitch to Corey Seager. Why? The bases are loaded at that point, so any contact could hurt you. a wild pitch can hurt you. Like the first 2 balls to Seager were completely out of the zone. He couldn't even get an offer. Seager spit on both of them. The first strike Bummer threw, Seager dumped it right in front of Luis Robert for a 2-run single. Like, you cannot keep putting the game in these guys' hands. Now, granted, I understand Crochet's on the shelf. I understand Liam's on the shelf. But at a certain point, what's the difference between Santos facing Seager in that spot than Aaron Bummer? You went to the worst bullet in the gun because he's left-handed? Are you serious?
Yeah. Especially, I think it was the next, I forgot who it was that he was up against, but he kept calling, I think it was Grandal. I can't remember if it was Grandal. I think it was probably Grandal. It wasn't Sebi, but he kept throwing that slider, the hanging slider. And I don't know why you're not just driving that sinker in, when you're trying to get outs. What's easier to hit, the hanging slider or the sinker coming down and in? Like,
yeah. Like if you got a lefty like Aaron Bummer who gets some great arm side run, even when he's bad, he gets good run on his sinker. Wouldn't you be more comfortable calling for that to run away from Seager's barrel instead of calling for sliders that's going to slide right into his bat path? Like, thank God the first 2 sliders were so far off the plate that Seager couldn't even, offer at it. Because what if it would have leaked out, even on the outer third? He probably could have pushed it right over the left center field bleachers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I just question a lot of this stuff. Like, I don't want to be one of those, like, I'm out on Grifol guys. But at a certain point, if I could pick up a fucking PlayStation remote and manage the team, you got to do something, bro. And you know what these people are doing with these PlayStation remotes. Now we got billionaires stuck 2 miles beneath the goddamn Earth's surface.
Leave it up to the rich to fuck things up 111 years later.
Yeah, sick.
But regardless of that, Bummer has been doing great too lately. So the whole pitching approach lately has been off. And, Justin, we kind of saw a little bit yesterday with Cease because he was, I think, through 4 innings. He had like 46 pitches. He was on a roll. And then in the 5th, a guy gets on and then we start pitching around guys. And next thing you know, we're in a position where he got bases loaded and Cease has to get out of it, which he did. But then again, in the 6th inning, similar approach happens where because he had that one high pitch inning, his pitch count's already high. And then you start to drive, or I think he walked someone and then a base hit and you get 2 runners on and, he's pitching around people in that inning too. So it's just frustrating how they just take their foot off the gas pedal in their approaches. And next thing you know, Cease has a tied game in a performance where he struck out 9 and only had 2 walks. Like he had a really great performance versus a division leader in the Texas Rangers. And just all around frustrating to see those performances wasted. And again,
it's hard.
Like Lance Lynn goes 7 innings, strikes out 16, ends up losing
16. Sad. And I don't understand why people don't realize that you cannot be economical nibbling the strike zone. It's impossible because you have no command of getting strikes. You're throwing balls and you're waiting on the hitters to turn them into strikes. That's not the case. Like you just said it right there, Gonzo. Cease was pretty efficient through 4 because he wasn't nibbling and he was on top of 90% of the hitters that he was facing. Once the 5th and 6th came around, that's when you started seeing the secondary and the subsurface, opening at bats with breaking balls and going away from fastballs in the fastball counts. Like you're pitching to guys like Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia, and Jonah Heim, who are actively seeing more pitches than they ever have in their career. That's the Bruce Bochy model. We're gonna wait you out and be patient. And ultimately it worked because, I mean, Cease threw a hell of a game and he couldn't even get a decision.
It's not like they were even having hard contact against him either yesterday. You know,
I mean, Adolis had a double and a homer, but I mean, everybody else was just slapdick.
Yeah, I mean, Cease only gave up 5 hits in those 6 innings. So now, Justin, we have top of the 3rd here with Kopech.
We in some trouble.
Kopech's at 49 pitches, 2 2/3. 2 guys on, 2 outs, obviously, but your boy Nate Lowe, he starts off the at bat with the fastball high in the zone, goes a slider in, change up away, and he flicks one right over to Benintendi. Get there. Oh, he got it. What? Oh my God, Justin, did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Did he bobble it off the fence?
It was like
I thought he caught
super,
that.
It was a super trap.
Here we go. I got the replay here. Did he catch it off the fence? Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It was the super trap.
Oh man. Well, you know, I gotta admit there on the 3rd pitch of that bat change up, you know, down the way. It was a good pitch by Kopech, and just lucky that Nate Lowe just flicks at it, and you know, it just goes right over the head of Benintendi, which looks like Benintendi actually had a good read on that, but he just lost it up in the
it
the
was
sun there in left field.
Yeah, the twilight caught him. But even to your point, that change up away was something that Nate Lowe could handle. So Nate was probably, how could I say, he was better equipped for that change up away than a 4-seamer right underneath his hands in that situation. And we got to get back to, we have some hard throwers in our rotation with Kopech and Cease. They need to use their fastball as an imposing pitch instead of just like a high octane get me over.
And Justin, like, to that point there, that was a 1-1 change up. Like, I'd rather see that 1-2 when you're, you know, ahead in your account. Not 1-1. I want to see that 1-1 go back to the, you know, the first pitch up in the zone, give him that fastball up, make him pop it up, or at least foul tip it so you have 1-2 count. Then you go to that change up low and away. We got to execute that change up 1 and 2. You can't just, you know, dibble dabble it out there, or else you're going to get a pitch that, you know, Nate can handle.
Yeah, like you a 1-1 change up, in order for it to be effective, it has to be thrown for a strike. And we're talking about in regards to Michael Kopech. A 1-2 change up doesn't have to be a strike. So you're absolutely right in that regard, because it's like putting yourself in position to throw consistent strikes helps. Don't get me wrong, it helps. But in a situation like that, if I am in a position to give Nate Lowe a strike in a run producing situation, 9 times out of 10 he's going to get me. He's going to get me because it's already 2 outs, so it's do or die. He's not going to try to leave it up. I mean, I understand I got Adolis in the on deck circle, but there's too much meat on the bone for me as a hitter. So,
and again, you have 2-2, and you just threw another slider out to make it a full count. Like, I don't understand. Not a lot of guys are going to hit your fastball. Like, why are we scared to throw the fastball in a count that is predictable for it when normally they can't touch you with it? Like, I don't understand it. Now you're behind in the count 3-2, and you know, you throw another slider away, and all Adolis has to do is take it, and you got bases loaded.
Or what if I give you a 4-seamer right at my kneecaps?
Oh, there we go. Strike 3 right at the knees. There we go. Good call, Justin. Good call. Right.
Just straighten them up a little bit. That's all.
Straighten them up. All right, Justin. Last point here. Grifol's grounds. Last Thursday, Cease was pitching one hell of a jam out there in Los Angeles. He goes 6 innings, strikes out. Or no, he officially went 5. But he was in his 6th frame, but he had 10 strikeouts, and Grifol takes him out for Lopez in the 6th inning. And it was kind of a similar situation where not a lot of good contact against Cease. And you got, I think he had one out and ends up walking one. And guy hits like just flicks his wrist, I believe, and gets out to the outfield. Two guys on, one out, and goes to Lopez. Lopez gets a fly out for the second out, and the next guy up behind him hits a right between shortstop and third, ends up being bases loaded, and then we obviously saw the rest with the grand slam and that outing, and ties it at 4 in the 6th. Sox lose 5-4. Walk us through that, within that situation, if you felt like it was the right decision to take Cease out, or do you leave him in? Has Cease proven himself to be, to Grifol to stay in there? What's your thoughts?
No, he hasn't. And you could just look at the last month. Dylan Cease has been stuck on 3 wins. And you remember, Gonzo, I want to say the end of May, he was in a funk. He wasn't striking guys out, and he wasn't really competitive. Now he's throwing the ball better, but the results are the same. So no, I still have to manage him. I think it was the right decision. I wish we didn't go to fucking Ronaldo of all people, but it is what it is. It was the right decision to actually save Cease from himself.
See, I'm on the opposite side of that just because you go back to that, guys weren't making great contact on him in LA, haven't really hit him that hard at all. And then we get scared when we're not going to allow a guy that's proven himself the year before, really prove himself to a new manager and really execute and get himself out of situations. And I got to look at this. It's been a hot minute since I've looked over his pitching performances, but
you don't even like Dylan anymore.
You said in April, which means we watched him struggle at home. But since mid-May, he had 3 straight starts of 6 innings, has a rough outing in Detroit, and it follows that up with, in June with 2 of the 4 starts going 6. And earned runs wise, he hasn't given up anything. He's only had 1 outing. He's given up more than 3 runs, and that was in that Detroit game. But for the past month, he's only been giving up, looks like 1 to 2 earned runs. So I think he's starting to turn it around. And obviously we've seen in performances with, it looks like now he's starting to get that slider going for himself, which, I think I did when Juan was on the show. I said, if it was me, I want to see more of that knuckle curve with the fastball. And then once the slider starts, sliding again, you'll be able to see him throw those 3 pitches. And that's basically what we're starting to see here.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful to see, because that's really that next step you want. You want him to truly throw 3 pitches and not just 2, to get guys out and to get longer in his outings, which through 4 innings, the past several outings, he's had really quick innings and low pitch counts. So now you got to start putting it all together and fully going with your efficiency, with your pitch counts in these outings, and going deeper into these games. I think he's capable of it, but obviously I think it's just a matter of starts throughout this month where we're going to start seeing him be more efficient, with those 3 pitches. But in that outing, I was really frustrated that Dylan wasn't given the opportunity to finish that 6th frame, because that's his game to win. At that point, they weren't touching him at all.
I mean, but throughout the stretch, they're all his games to win. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, at a certain point, we got to hold Dylan Cease accountable from turning these 5 2/3 innings into 6 solid, 7 solid.
You have to turn, but I think that's the point here. I want to emphasize on what's a better outing to do so, let him prove himself, get to finish, that 6th frame, than to do it when you're up 4-0. Instead of watching your lead vanish to a 4-4 game with
evaporated instantly.
You go from a win that you have the accountability to have versus a reliever blowing it and him, costing and getting the loss in that outing. Like, Lopez shouldn't be put in that situation, and Grifol needs to start, finding that player that's going to be his ace. Because obviously, there's the majority. We had Lynn getting injured last year. He ended up coming back in, end of June, but Cease was your predominantly ace through the last year, and Grifol needs to find someone that he can be held, he can hold someone accountable in this rotation, because pretty soon here you're probably going to trade Gio, so you need to find someone not only for this year, but the future years of what is going to be your next contention window, and that's if you do keep Cease, but I hope they do. But for me, Justin, I can't emphasize it enough. I feel like that was a perfect outing to give him the shot to get those final two outs.
It was definitely a good opportunity to see, is Dylan Cease still my rock? Forget about the 4.5 ERA. He was at like a 4.47 at the time. It's been dropping dramatically with every start. But is this the guy that can bridge me? Because you got to think the bullpen is the worst element of the organization right now. I think it's the farm system, then the bullpen, then Jerry Reinsdorf. That's the biggest problems I have in the organization. Dylan Cease had an opportunity to take a little bit of pressure off of that, and I mean, to your point, Pedro didn't give him that opportunity, but has Dylan Cease earned it within his last, let's just go back to his previous 2 starts or 3 starts before this one that we're talking about? I don't think he has.
I just don't think he's been given the opportunity late in those frames to really prove it, So I feel like the arrow's up, because you obviously see in the past month the outings have been getting to those 6 frames. And you see, like I said, you see finally he's thrown efficiently those 3 pitches, not just 2. Like, you're seeing certain things that's going up with him. Where if I was the manager, I'd be having a little bit more confidence in going towards him. Because I do, like you said, if that bullpen's been a struggle ever since the ending of the Miami series, because before that they were on fire. Now your bullpen lost confidence. You need to have your guys start eating more innings, so you don't have to put as much onto your bullpen, especially with guys getting injured too, with Crochet and Hendricks. For me, it's frustrating not seeing him having more confidence in his rotation. Because, again, you're seeing guys getting better and better here with Kopech. He's been on fire the past month with Cease. And now you finally have a guy like Lance Lynn going 7, striking out 16. And Lance had himself, before that, the last 2 outings, I think he had 3 or 4 straight outings before that he was starting to turn himself around. So you're seeing a little bit more out of this rotation. You need to have a little bit more faith, especially if you do deem yourselves contenders in this division. You need to start, allowing your rotation to go deeper to save yourself here, give yourself a better fight for getting a W as the innings go along in the game.
Yeah, like, I think Pedro is putting a lot of emphasis on high leverage, where he's hoping the bullpen bail him out at a high leverage, when in fact, how many times have we seen that, in a situation to where, okay, there's runners on or whatever, Michael Kopech is the best option to get me out of this situation. And he's the guy that got me in the mess, but that's the guy that has the best opportunity to get me out of the situation. For example, the conversation we just had about Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease was the best pitcher in the stable to put out the fire at the time, but Pedro Grifol elected to go to the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
So does Pedro Grifol trust his rotation in high leverage situations? That's going to be the question that's got to be answered within the next month or so.
Again, this is probably going to go to what Junior was saying with analytics, because for sure that analytically the analysts out here are going to say don't trust your rotation going to the 3rd.
Yeah, I was gonna
That
say they
lineup.
hate. Why do they hate the third go around in the lineup? Because they see more. I don't care. I don't care what you see. You still ain't been hitting it.
They look at
Lance
the
Lynn had
batting average.
16 strikeouts. You think he
Yeah,
gave a fuck about the third time through the order?
they see the numbers of the third line and they get scared about them. But I mean, again, you got to play it situationally. Where are you at in the lineup going through that third round in? You know, are you going into your sixth or seventh frame and you're at the bottom of their order? Like, I don't care if the bottom of their order, if I'm going through them the third time around with that starting pitcher, because more likely than not, I'm going to get through that. I want to get through those, those outs at the bottom of the order for my bullpen to go, face the top hitters of their lineup than, going right to the bullpen, wasting outs on the bottom of the order. Again, it's very situational, but frustrating.
Yeah, it's frustrating as hell because you got to think without Liam and Crochet, how many bullets do you got left? Why are you wasting Graveman on the 7, 8, 9 hitters when you just gonna roll around to the top in the next frame? Why are you doing that?
Yeah. And Justin, we got top of the fourth here, 1 out. Guy at first, 0-2 count. Again, we're talking about the bottom of the order, and that's what we got right now. Seventh hitter at the plate, and Kopech's at 71 pitches. This is going to be a frustrating.
3 2/3.
3 1/3.
3 1/3. Oy.
Yeah, you're probably going to be lucky to have Kopech get to the fifth, and he just gives up a home run.
No, stop. Hold on. If you're just tuning in, I don't believe what Gonzo just said, so I got to check my own damn phone. And he gave up a 2-run shot to Ezekiel Duran. Are you kidding me?
Your boy Duran, he throws a hanging slider right down the heart of the plate.
Yeah.
Duran didn't miss it, and Robert almost made the catch there at the railing by your seats over there in the bleachers.
I don't think Luis Robert got any hops. I'm going to just go on record and say that.
I think you're going to surprise yourself with that clip right there because he showed a little bit of it. But that will wrap us up on Grifol's grounds, Justin. And we're going to roll here into Southside Daily.
This is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I didn't believe you when you said Andy just gives up a home run. I'm like, no. So let's just go through the sequence real quick. Single, 2-run homer, walk, podcast complaining about pitch count and efficiency. There's a lot happening right now.
We're just ruining these guys by giving this game feed right now because we're calling out the BS right now and it's happening.
Oh my God! Did you see that last cut by Tavares? He's not fooling nobody now. And I don't. Do you remember opening week against the Giants when they teed off for like 6 home runs off of him? Me and King Mac was at the game. I have never strained my neck that much to see balls sail over my head. Pause. Like Michael Kopech made me break my neck to follow the fucking meatballs that he was giving up to the Giants, and now he's doing the same thing to the poor people at the rate today.
Yeah, again, it's that whole part of getting ahead that Michael's been getting ahead of these guys, but you're not. It's just a pitch sequence that you're not putting him in the best position. And I feel like whenever I see Sebi back there, it's always pitch sequence for me with Sebi behind the dish. That drives me nuts. And again, you just can't. You're not really putting him in the best situation to finish these at bats, nor are you. When you do put him behind the ball on some of these pitches that he's not even executing them either. So it's really a battle of the two that are just L's across the board. But before we get into our giveaway here, we're going to go through the schedule here coming up. Hey, Justin, your second favorite team's coming to town.
My step team.
How do you feel about the Sox? What's the word that you created for your?
Yeah. Well, my bisexualness is taking a hit this week. I feel bad for the Red Sox because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's always series like this where you've seen the White Sox do it over the years against the Yankees. Now we're going to see it this weekend against the Red Sox, where the White Sox play up to their competition. Don't get me wrong, they're chasing 2 runs today to the Rangers, but for the most part, offensively and on a competitive level, they've actually played some okay baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong, the Red Sox are absolutely scalding hot. I think they're on an 8-game winning streak. They're about to curb stomp the Twinkies again. But I just feel like the White Sox got a great opportunity to get some good momentum going into next week. And it starts with winning a series against my Bo Sox.
You think they're going to take the flame out of the Bo Sox, Justin?
Well, there is no flame. The Red Sox can go on a 10-game winning streak and still be in 3rd and a half in the American League East. So, I mean, it is what it is. I just need the White Sox to be about 3.5 games back by All-Star break, because then things are going to get sticky.
Yeah.
It's going to get sticky.
So, Southside Daily, we're going to start off a 3-game series versus the Boston Red Sox at home, Friday through Sunday. Friday's matchup is going to be Giolito versus Bello. Honestly, I like what I've seen out of Bello since he's gotten the call.
He's not walking anybody, and it's weird for a guy like him because he's a traditional 4-pitch pitcher, but at his age, it's hard to control all 4 pitches at the same time. And when you got him and Giolito going up against each other, that's the battle of the changeups right there. That is 2 all-star level changeups going toe-to-toe. That's going to be a nice pitcher matchup Friday, Gonzo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And then Saturday, we got Lance Lynn versus James Baxton, the lefty, the southpaw. He hasn't been too shabby either, Justin, in his outings lately.
He's been absolutely spectacular.
He's a guy I picked up in fantasy to help me through some of these weeks. And I think that's going to be my favorite duo this week, Lance Lynn versus Baxton, just because I want to see how Lance Lynn bounces back from that performance he had in Seattle. Although that lineup in Boston, that can cause you issues. But you just got to keep them off balance. We'll see if Lance Lynn can go about his ways of what he did in Seattle and changing the eye level, changing the speed of his pitches to really get guys over the top of their front toe. It's going to be an interesting matchup, but I'm excited for it. And then Sunday, you're going to have, I don't know who Crawford is. You're going to have to help me out, Justin.
Cutter Crawford, he's like a hybrid opener. Like he's a bullpen guy, but he has like a 60-pitch limit every time he starts, so he's one of those guys. He threw the ball well against Minnesota. What was that? Yesterday in a bullpen day. So that's another matchup that you got to keep your eye out on, because not only are you going to see the White Sox go toe-to-toe with try to match blow for blow with the Red Sox offense, but you're going to get into that Red Sox bullpen early Sunday, really early, and you got to take advantage.
Right. Again, Sox have an undecided matchup there. As I think he's going to throw out Tanner Banks again to start off in that duel on the bump there for the series on Sunday, which that'll be frustrating if they both win one game going into that 3-game series, because you're gonna have a bullpen day basically for for the series W.
Yeah. Like the rubber matches 4 flat tires. Like that'd be deflating as hell. You have like spectacular performances Friday and Saturday, then Sunday's the dud.
Yeah. But the guy we gotta watch out for, he should be up there in the All-Star voting. I haven't really looked at third baseman in a hot minute, but Devers adding 238, 17 home runs, 57 ribbies, and then Yoshida has slash line of 308, 379, and 488. Justin, talk us through your second favorite team coming into this.
Well, right now, the Boston Red Sox are an OPS monster. Like, if you look at what they're doing tonight in Minnesota, like Justin Turner is probably the best hitter in Red Sox history at this point. The man, hold on, let me tell you what he's doing tonight. So just tonight, he's 2 for 2 with a walk, a solo home run, two RBI singles, and it's only like the 5th inning. He's been on a fucking heater since touching down in Minnesota. That's a guy you got to watch out for. Tristan Casas, our first baseman, is heating up too. That's the guy that who doesn't mind getting into deep counts. So, like we talked about, pitchers wanting to nibble. That's a situation that doesn't bother him because he's a patient hitter anyway. Connor Wong, the catcher, he's been playing some outstanding baseball on both sides. I don't know if I mentioned Verdugo already. He's been killing it. Duvall is healthy and back. Rafi has been kind of weird because he's been an out machine. But if you look at his box score, the numbers are still there. Top 10 in home runs, top 10 in RBIs. I mean, the 250 clip, yeah, whatever you could say about that, but the numbers are still there. Even though the Red Sox are they? I think we're still in last place. I don't know. We're still in last place, but the offensive numbers suggest that if they weren't in the American League East, they could probably be a top 5 team in the American League.
Yeah. Out there in the AL Central, they'd be taking that division.
Yeah, the division would be over with.
Yeah. All right.
Over.
Second series of the week is going to be Sox are going to be on the road in Anaheim versus the Angels. Monday's outing is going to be Cease versus Barria, which I thought we were going to see that earlier in the year when the Angels were here at home, but they switched up the series matchups, and now we're going to get them on Monday. That's going to be a nice outing. Obviously, we saw how Cease did versus the Rangers. He did really well. I'm going to be really excited to see how he does on the road in Anaheim because, just Cease versus Ohtani, that's going to be a matchup that
I think he's going to dominate them, to be honest with you. I'm definitely starting Dylan Cease in fantasy Monday night. I promise you.
Yeah, I promise you, I have him on the bench because I can't trust starting him.
No.
I can't do it, Justin. I can't do it.
He's probably going to strike out 12, Ohtani twice, Trout twice, and then everybody else. Like, the Angels are a strikeout bank. You could cash in anytime you want, especially Trout these days. I like Dylan Cease against the Angels.
Yeah. And then Tuesday's matchup is going to be Kopech versus Ditmers. Ditmers, the lefty.
He threw the ball well against the Dodgers last time he pitched, Reed Detmers.
Yeah.
He threw it really well.
Yeah. So with how this is shaping up, I think the Sox, I know Slavko doesn't like it when we do predictions for these these weekly schedules that we have, but I have a feeling the Sox are going to split those two in LA, and I'm going to have them taking 2 of 3 versus Boston.
Ooh, 4-2 trip? 4-2. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm feeling that right now.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, as much as I want the White Sox to win, because they need every fucking game they could get, I think the Red Sox come in and they Boston Tea Party our ass.
Yeah.
I think they take 2 out of 3. Although, if the Red Sox can somehow blow the game Friday, that makes Sunday's game very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And as far as the Angels go, I'm picking the Sox to win both those games.
Okay. So you have what, 3? Is that what you got? That's not 3 and 3.
Yeah. No, it's 3. No. Wait, basic math.
My math is failing me.
The math ain't mathing. If they win 2 games against the Angels,
yep,
and they win 1 game against, it's 3 and 2. All right, 3 and 2. Whew, fuck. That was kind of embarrassing, Gonzo. I'm not gonna lie. Like that brain fart I just had right now.
So we both have 3 and 2 then.
You got 4. Yeah, 3 and 2.
Yeah. All right. Well, 3 and 2. That's how we see it in these 5 games. Justin, how about we get to the giveaway now that get it out of the way? And the question is for the chat. I'm gonna put it back up there. Question is, who deserves to be an all-star? Give us your best explanation. And so far, Russ has just thrown up Robert with no explanation. And then,
well, he did say Robert Jr., so I mean, probably Jr.'s the explanation.
Robert Jr.'s the explanation. And then you got Vincent and posting Robert and Berger. Before we give it a winner here, let's go over the all-star, is there any worthy in your opinion?
Luis Robert.
Just position players.
Luis Robert. That's it.
Okay, so the whole Berger thing, you don't think he deserves it?
I don't think Jake Berger deserves to hit third in this lineup every day.
Oh man, that's a struggle because for me, I really want to see Berger make it. But again, like, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't like voting for guys that are injured. So it's like hard for me to vote for Judge and Alvarez because we don't know like if they're even going to make the All-Star game with their injuries.
I think Judge will be back. He just got the bruised toe. That oblique for Jordan is a lot more serious than Houston and King Mack, who got him on his fantasy team, are taking it.
Yeah. Yep. So again, I'll probably, but besides Judge, Judge and Alvarez, you would think, and this is what frustrates me, is the fan voting. I know Sox nationally don't get the love from around the country as much as people, sport their White Sox hats around this country.
Yeah.
They don't get the love. They're just a fashion icon. And you get no love because no one's voting for these guys, but Robert definitely deserves to be there. As much as I can't stand him throwing the ball out there in center field, he definitely deserves it with the bat and glove side of it. So, yeah, I do hope that Robert makes the team here.
Yeah, it'd be a complete fucking travesty if Luis Robert doesn't make the All-Star team, especially with his most prolific year of his career. Like, this is his career year.
Right. Can you imagine Cease not making it last year and Robert not making it this year? I feel like it's going to happen, and that's going to be a complete travesty.
That's okay, because I've already sent some very, let's just say, unbecoming emails to Rob Manfred on behalf of Dylan Cease last year. I'm still emailing him to this day.
So, Justin, I'm going to give this to you. Who's going to win the Ozzie Guillen signed photo?
I think Russ is going to win because, I mean, don't get me wrong, his explanation was short, but I did appreciate the junior at the end of Robert Jr.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, so you want us to vote for Robert's son? Like, who is Robert Jr.?
Yeah, we have to be politically correct on this show.
Incredible. Oh, I support Ozzie Guillen, but I can't back the blue.
Back the blue.
That's an umpire joke, nothing political.
Yes, don't come at us, Sox Twitter. Back the blue is for our boy Ozzie Guillen Jr. on the diamond right now. Probably about to toss some kid out for chirping at him. But yeah, we're gonna give this to Russ. Vincent, thanks for being in the chat, sending us your vote, and Robert and Burger. I appreciate the Burger side of it, so I was about to give it to you, but
wow,
I can't do it. I can't do it. Vincent, there'll be another shot at winning the signed photo. We're gonna do more promos as the season goes along. So anybody that missed out on the promo, we will do more to come. But congratulations to Rustin. Rustin, you got yourself a Ozzie Guillen signed photo coming your way. Which reminds me, I gotta put in the chat our email, because I don't know it off the top of my head right now. Oh yeah.
So Michael Kopech stressing you out that much, Gonzo?
Yes, Michael Kopech. I actually would have. It's crazy. Gonzo's crazy, but I would have actually thrown out Kopech out there in the 5th. And again, man, this goes to what we just said earlier in the show. Your man, our man Grifol, not trusting his rotation, going to the bullpen early when they've been used and abused for the last 2 weeks. You got to have some faith in your rotation. Otherwise, you're going to have some more injuries in your bullpen. Do you agree or disagree there?
I mean, I agree, because there is no arm in the bullpen that was going to be better equipped right now to get us through this 5th inning outside of Michael Kopech.
Yeah.
I understand the pitch count is high. I understand there's been some hard contact recently, but give the man a chance to get back in the dugout, take a deep breath, reset for a second, and go out and attack. It's not like with his pitch count up there, all you're asking for is one extra frame. The game won't change if you give Kopech that extra inning. I mean, he gives up more runs, you're still losing.
Yep. And as we talk, you got, again, you're down 2. It's a 3-1 game in the 5th. Runners at the corner, 1 out. Very tough situation for Lambert to try to get a ground ball here to get out of this. Especially when you got Garcia and Zhang, when you're trying to turn that double play. We'll see if he can get out of it, Jay. But this is the time of the show that we're going to go to our picks. Hey, Justin, how are you going to get out of your funk, man?
I'm just going to put myself in better hitting counts.
Okay.
I've been watching some tape, and pitchers have been working me on the outer third of the plate. So what I'm going to make a conscious effort to do is split the plate in half and only swing at things on the inside part of the plate. Now, if you're talking about in regards to the weekly picks, I have no fucking idea how to fix this. It seemed like the only way I could win is if I stop picking White Sox players, which isn't an option.
We should give you the option to choose whoever you fucking want.
Yeah.
If you want to pick the opposing lineup, we'll give you that option, Jay. But
No,
for the updated standings, Slavko has 4. Me and Junior have 3, and you have 1. So yes, folks, the winner from last week was Junior. OJ got his third win of the year with his selection of Benintendi, which we said that if he would get a home run, we were going to give him the win. And sure enough, Andrew Benintendi in Seattle drives one high and out.
And the ball that
he drove it out to right.
The ball was up and out of the zone. It was closer to what Gavin Sheets hit in Tampa.
Yeah.
And then he hit it to the big part of the ballpark. I'm like, okay, Benny.
Yeah, if that was at home, he's driving that right into the Miller Light deck, like halfway up it.
Yeah, damn near.
Damn near.
But I mean, Benny's been having a good stretch of games. As far as all around baseball, you see it on the base pass, you see it in the box. Whereas he's not as passive as he was earlier in the year. He's attacking pitches now.
Yeah, and disregard the fact he hit his first home run. He actually had, out of all the Sox hitters, he had the best week. This past week. So Junior actually solely won it with that pick.
Jonah Heim just hit a 3-run shot to right.
Stop it.
Okay.
Are you at that far? Oh my God. I'm behind, obviously.
Yeah. The Sox are behind.
Yes, the Sox are behind. Again, don't listen to us, man. You take Kopech out. Jimmy Lambert gives up a 3-run shot. I'm sorry, Sox fans. We deserve better. At least I feel we deserve better. I don't know.
This is depressing. And if I wasn't feeling under the weather and I sweated all the liquid I got in my body, I'm crying right now.
Yeah,
I'm crying. It hurts. Wow. You know what? I came into today, I was thinking we're going to win a series. You got the Red Sox coming into town. We're playing good baseball. And then reality hit.
Yeah. We're going to get to this. I'm getting frustrated as we go along here. But, all right. Junior, his first selection of the week is going to be Andrew Vaughn. We'll see if he can win this week and tie Slav. But OJ is going Andrew Vaughn. Our boy Slav, who couldn't make it with us today. Slavko ditched us.
Wow.
I got to be straight honest. I can't believe Slav would ditch us, Jay. You're sick, and our man couldn't show up to be here with us.
He's going to have your ass for this.
It's okay. He'll be back next week. We'll have the whole crew back next week. But Slav is going TA. Timmy Anderson, we'll see if he comes off the DL. He's been riding the bench lately. And do you think this has any plausibility that he's being held accountable at all, Jay, or do you think they're strictly riding the injury here?
I mean,
because he pinch hit yesterday and didn't get a shot at the starting today.
I think TA in the doghouse.
I think he's in the doghouse too. No one's talking about it, but and that's frustrating because either you're injured or you're not. Put him on the IL, give him some rest. Or if you're gonna actually hold someone accountable like you did Robert, go out there and say it to the media. I don't care what TA's feelings are right now. Hold someone accountable if that's what you're doing. Don't just sweep it under the rug.
All this passive aggressiveness is really irritating because it's like you called up Popeye not to start him.
Mm-hmm.
You're claiming TA's hurt, but an IL stint isn't necessary. So what's going on? Zach Remillard is now the greatest thing since bottled water. What gives?
Yeah, what gives? Justin, we're going to get to this after our picks because we're going to have to go on one last rant before we wrap this up. But I'm going to go Luis Robert for my selection this week. Jay, who do you got to end it?
I got Grandal. I want Rondal to win me a damn pick to click. Can you do that for me, Yasmani Grandal?
Can you do it? Yes. Do it for Jay. Jay is dying of the flu. Yes, we need you to come through here. And folks, our selection for the week is as posted. I've got OJ has Vaughn, Slav has TA, I have Robert Jr., and Jay has Yasmani Grandal. And that is our selection for picks to click. And again, once again, we want to congratulate Russ for winning the Ozzie signed photo. We will be reaching out to you, Russ. Again, email us at email us at ogblackoutshow@gmail.com, and you'll get your signed photo. And before we wrap it up, Jay, I think we've been really hindering at our frustration. And that is, we need to be looking at a new GM. We need to start the fire Han.
I don't understand how he's still employed when you had every media outlet throwing Pedro Grifol underneath the bus. Like, why isn't that tailored to fucking Rick Hahn? Why isn't Rick Hahn gone just from that instance alone? Because that was his guy he picked, and it's been an absolute dumpster fire. Why isn't Rick Hahn held accountable for garbage cans being lit on fire on 35th and Shields? Why?
Yeah, and I had to remove myself to come back because I got to pull the OJ. I got my 3-ring notebook binder, and I'm going to throw up OJ's Fire Han.
This is wild, bro.
Fire
Absolutely
him.
Wild.
So we hinted at a little bit of it, right? I tweeted about this from our show account. Why is it becoming normality, really, to bring up a prospect high on your list, to ride him on the bench, not even start him? You're going to ride him on the bench, and occasionally he'll come in for, like, I think Popeye came in as a pinch runner, but how many times have we seen, like, Sosa, Rami, when they first got called up to be like a pinch hitter, like, most of them just ride the series on the bench and go back to Charlotte or Birmingham, and they just are only up there for the weekend to get that flair in them. You had a situation again. I talked about, you brought up Banks when it was a righty that went down, so you're lacking a righty. So why don't you bring up Declan Cronin, a guy that's been tearing it up in Charlotte? So you could have had Popeye and Cronin brought up. Hell, you could even bring up Kolas at this point, instead of some of these other backup options that we have right now. Like, this is your opportunity to really try to retool. When the trade deadline's coming up, you're gonna be selling, or you should be selling. You should not, give us false hope and be a buyers when this team isn't good enough to, like, let's say they make the postseason, right? They ain't going anywhere. They're going to be beat out in the first round. You're just not good enough against some of these other teams in the AL that have proven it year in, year out in the postseason.
Yeah, they haven't proven anything. Like, they don't have a track record. Nothing.
No, and you have the same needs year in and year out, and you can't do anything. Again, a lot of people, and this frustrates me too, a lot of people are doing the same thing that they did with Tony, and they're giving Grifol the scapegoat, saying, "Oh, what has he done? And what game number is this right now, Jay? Is this?"
Well, I can tell you right now, this is game number 76.
In 76 games in your first year as a manager, you have a losing record, so you want to be casted a failure right away when you have the same GM. What year is this for Han? Is this 13?
Yeah, 12 or 13.
Whether it's 12 or 13 years, you have a losing record, and you're in your contention window. You've had the same necessities at second base, right field. You can even say left field for the majority of it because you finally did. At least you got Needham Benintendi, but that was your biggest takeaway from this offseason. You still need another premium arm in this rotation. You have the same needs year in, year out. And we have to believe that this is a manager, that our manager's the flaw this whole time.
Yeah.
That hasn't been the case. All right, granted, Ricky, I think Ricky was good for developing your youth, but he wasn't really. They gave him 1 year, and then they went to the next step, thinking that they were, that they were able to contend right away, and that wasn't the case. But regardless, I don't think Ricky was the right guy for being at the position to contend. But that shouldn't have been the expectation even after that 1 year. Like, you still need another solid year to really prove your, what you truly have in your core. So regardless of, Ricky's flaws, Tony wasn't the flaw either, and neither is Grifol. And it's frustrating to see that as the years go by, Jerry doesn't have the loyalty, or he has too much loyalty, and he's not going to go away from it, and he's going to allow Rick to slide his way out of it, the media not even go after him. And this is frustrating. This is truly frustrating because we need a new GM.
Now we need a new GM now before Rick Hahn ushers in the next 10 years. Because we could be very well in a situation where Jerry already told Hahn, okay, start it over again. He did it all the time with Garpax. We already seen how this goes. Gar Forman and John Paxton had unlimited opportunities in a Bulls front office, and now Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams are repeating that same thing for the White Sox. And you can't blame them. I mean, they're not going to fire themselves, but at a certain point, when are we going to stop holding Pedro Grifol accountable for problems that were here before Grifol?
Yep. I think it's among us. Hey, listen, Jerry heard you fans last year fire Tony. Whether he had, which I believe he did have his medical issue, and that's what took him out, because we know that, and I feel like Tony should still be there if you deem this a contending team. I still feel he should be here if that's what you deemed. But regardless of that, folks, we're going to have Hahn, the leader of this ship that's sinking.
We should have put him in a fucking submarine.
Jesus.
Never mind. Okay, whatever.
We can't get too crazy here.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure he's a good person, but not.
You think Rick Hahn could swim?
Probably not.
In a mile and a half underneath the surface?
Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not. But I'm not going to wish that mortality upon him. I just don't want him to be my my GM in the front office. But cheers to you, Hahn. It's a 6-1 game here. Justin, do you have any final thoughts for the show tonight?
Absolutely. I mean, the last time we did one of these live game casts, we had Eric from Ray Shoot join on, and we got destroyed by Danny Jansen and Whit Merrifield. Now, the culprits are different. Now, we're looking at Ezekiel Duran and Jonah Heim. So the White Sox are getting killed by the bottom of every team's order. It's sickening to me. And then the next frame, the bottom of the sixth, this was probably because I was watching this while we're recording. Elvis Andrus led off the frame with a walk Down by 5 runs, Zach Remillard bunts him to second with Sebi Zavala on deck. What type of fucking baseball are you people playing? Never. Thank you. No way. That's all I got to say, Gonzo. Like, I've used up all of my energy for the show tonight. It was a blast. Good to be back on my government name. But, God.
Yeah, before we end this, Tauki Toussaint is on the mound to start the 6th inning. The recently acquired free agent that Han picked up, added to the 40th man roster. And now we're seeing what he can do on the mound tonight as he throws a curveball into the right-handed batter box to a lefty. Yeah, this sounds about right with how this is going to go. Jay, Sox are down 6-1. It's likely that the Rangers are going to win it tonight. I had a blast with you. And next week, we're going to have another show to be determined on guests going to be with us or fans going to be with us. But congratulations to Russ on your signed photo. We will get it back to you shortly. And from Justin Lee, from me, Chris Gonzalez, we are missed by Ozzie Guillen Jr. and Slav. But we will be back next week. This is Season 1, Episode 15 of The Blackout. And thanks for watching with us.